All right, we're live, guys. Thank you so much. I'm so happy this works. So I tried to set up a premiere event on YouTube, and apparently that created a block with my Zoom. All right, we're live, guys. Thank you so much. I'm so happy. Yeah, so here is the live Zoom. For those of you on YouTube, I know I wrote a message on the other link. If you were waiting on the other link, please join me here. Please share this live link. And I'll be super happy to connect with you. All right. So let's get started, guys. Welcome to Self-Love Sundays. Let me actually share the link. People are asking where it is. Here you go. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, fabulous. Oh, there you are, Mark, Lenny, Inga, so great to see you. Okay, good. We're back on track here. Okay, guys, Self-Love Sunday. So today we're going to deep dive into a couple topics, but I did have some really interesting questions that I want to answer that somebody left on our chat, I think yesterday. And I thought it was a really important question. So let me open that and I will answer that question. And if you guys have any questions that you want to start, this class is really, this event is really about cultivating the 0 point and everything that we need to do in order to establish that 0 point in our everyday lives through our week and through our days, and what does that look like. So if you guys are having a challenging time embodying the 0 point and don't know how to change those habits and the repetitive patterns that keep you away from the 0 point, share your experience and let me know how I can support. More and more, I am understanding the value of teaching this topic, that essentially the 0 point is really the point of pure creation. And when the human understands how to embody that, there's so much that the human changes in their life, transforms in their abundance, in their manifestation, in the healing of their body, in the integrating of the blockages and pain bodies of all the ancestral lineages that we are integrating through our personal experience. But essentially, this lifetime is so beautiful. This life is so incredibly magical that allows us to experience a plethora of experiences and grow and evolve through them. And the more that we let go of the attachment to ideas of how we have to be, how we have to embody, even the practices that we're doing, we are turning into a very fluid state of presence. And in the state of presence, there is no rules. There are no. What I mean by that is there are no steps, like rigid steps that the human has to take. It's about presence. And in that presence, the immense potential that is available to the human in order for it to experience. But a lot of us are so decided that we want to control the experiences, control how we do things, how we experience things. And really that takes us farther and farther away from actually experiencing the 0 point, the pure form of manifestation. And we wonder why we are still suffering, why we are lost, why we are still confused, why we haven't reached that point of creation that we want. So this is something that I want to share with you, okay? The first question that we have today is from PJ. Geraldine, rather than creating bulk of content, could you please explain in simplified terms on one end, you said unconditional love, forgiveness. I can't read the rest. What unconditional love, forgiveness, and acceptance is owning up to all, like the good and bad? I'm not sure I understand that full question. PJ, if you're here, can you please clarify that for me? And let me see if I can find his original question. Nope, I can't. Okay. Oh, here it is. Owning up to all, like the good and bad, particularly towards self, having grace, compassion, and for other, accepting who they are, and offer unconditional love, forgiveness, and acceptance. But again, when you talk on chakras, you say why you get attached or love to a person who isn't emotionally present, available to you, respect to you, etc. Quite contradictory, don't understand. Could you please simplify and elaborate? Let me make sure I understand the question. Yeah, okay. So we are really talking about the same thing, but let me clarify in terms of context. So the question is really that I talk about unconditional love and forgiveness and acceptance and owning up to the potential of good and bad that's available in every experience. And then PJ says it's contradictory when we talk about the chakras and we talk about, why are we attracting a person that is on that resonance, attracting people that are not loving. Okay, so to answer this question, I think what we need to understand is the mechanics of attraction go down to your subconscious belief systems. If your belief systems are about fear, anxiety, doubt, mistrust in yourself, if you have all of those things inside of you, you are not embodying unconditional love. You are not forgiving yourself. You are blocking yourself from pure self-acceptance to begin with. Okay, so all of those internal wars and rejections and judgments that you have towards yourself subconsciously. Now, a lot of people are not even aware of those programs that they have subconsciously. We play them out. We have them in the back of our mind, and we play them out in our lives. And it really affects our lives in such a way that we find ourselves in toxic relationships, problems in the office, family issues, conflicts with communication with our children, all of these different things that take us away from that. And that is the law of resonance. So if in the core, in the base of the subconscious mind, you have this internal war, we really haven't reached an understanding of what unconditional love is. Okay, so unconditional love is a state of being, and that is something that we cultivate by the 0 point. The 0 point is a state of non-judgment, and that doesn't just apply to the external, and it applies to the internal. Anytime that we're judging ourselves internally, compartmentalizing parts of ourselves, it severs us from that intuitive divine connection to what you really are, and therefore your creation is a direct reflection of that. So it's not a contradiction, but it's breaking down the mechanics. The chakras are holding the information of those subconscious belief systems, and the chakras are spinning at the vibrational rate that you are either stagnant or expanded and fluid in the energy centers. So this is why the awareness in meditation, the 0 point, is important, because once you find the observer to be able to review your patterns of behavior that are causing you suffering internally towards yourself and externally, you can begin to apply the free will of choosing whether you want to change, address, shift those belief systems in order to change how you experience things. So the chakras are filters of perception. They are the filters of perception because the chakras process through vibrational frequency all of the core subconscious belief systems. Okay, so all our belief systems are self-organized in the body through vibrational frequency, and each one of the chakras is moving the life force on that vibrational frequency. The more that we strengthen a certain thought form, the more it becomes a program, the more energetically it becomes a crystallized, very slow-moving wavelength that we store and we fire, we reinforce through our thoughts, through our emotions. Because remember, these thought forms are combined with many systems of the body. The thought form of unworthiness is combined with contraction of nervous system, muscle system. It's combined with the way that we speak, with our personalities that we've created around unworthiness. So all of these systems are are directly interconnected. And when that thought form is reinforced by an external event, all of these systems come into play. So those are the reinforcements, like neural pathways. We talked about how thought forms in the brain are reinforced because you keep reinforcing that belief system, like I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick. We keep reinforcing the thought form that we are not well, we are not good, we are not safe. So of course, the entire body has to respond to that. Okay, so those conflicting concepts, we don't understand what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is the ability to see all of the parts of yourself that you have compartmentalized into a negative aspect of yourself, and you see it for what it is. You accept it, and you are fully present in the acceptance of yourself. What that allows you to do is to decide how to now navigate this negative element of yourself, okay? If this negative thought form is truly negative, now how do we define whether it's truly negative or not? Some thought forms are, we're becoming aware of repetitive things that we've been doing that have been harming us, okay? So when we begin to see that it's not a very creative thought form, it's not a very creative activity, a creative thought form, way of being, a program, we see the cyclical patterns that cause ourselves harm, okay? So as opposed to, if you have a false belief system about yourself, if when you look at this pattern, you begin to see, oh, wait a minute, that's not really true. It's not true that I'm unworthy. And you begin to go down into the layers, and you begin to realize that that program of unworthiness is something I adopted in order to survive as one circumstance in childhood, maybe several circumstances, but I've built my entire life around that. Okay, so we begin to address that and dissolve that thought form, because it doesn't actually, it's an illusion that we've created, and we've attached very closely to that idea about ourselves and built an entire personality around it. So this is how we create these programs. We want to, when we're asking questions in our meditation, is this true? It's very important to align with higher levels of truth, collective levels of truth, universal laws, universal truths. This is how we expand and how we grow, and we remove the human out of the state of suffering into a state of co-creation. We also are escalating from a state of victimization and survival, creatorship, into a state of unified creation. Okay, so it's important to shift from those very myopic views of yourself and your experiences, and that is the process of unconditional love. The elevation of the frequency from that myopic view into a more a broader perspective in the universal truth is actually the embodiment of unconditional love, because we begin to understand cause and effect. Okay, the person that harmed me or made me believe that I was unworthy was also a product of unworthiness and trauma, and that allows you to choose in that moment, do you want to take on their suffering, or do you want to be responsible for your own suffering and change your life from there in a compassionate, mindful, aware way that is loving towards this organism, that doesn't have to take on parasitic belief systems that don't serve the human, right? So this is where we begin to understand, and really what it is about attachment. We become attached to ideas and concepts. We become attached to these aspects of ourselves, these thought forms, and we make it our entire personality. So I hope that clarifies the question, and let me know if I can expand on that. Art Gaia says, the critical parent keeps acting up. What can I do besides ground and meditate? Yeah, so I think we need to remove ourselves from the concept of judgment. And this is the thing, that when we're in a constant state of judgment, we are separating ourselves from ourselves. So we begin to look at a part of us that we don't accept, that we don't like, that we reject. And I just want you to notice the emotions that are there. I want you to sit with the judgment that is there and notice how much of a survival mechanism that is, because it's become a survival mechanism that we need to judge in order to assess whether we're safe whether we're going to survive, whether we're going to be okay, whether we're going to be accepted, loved, whether or not we're going to be rejected. Okay, so this is the critical parent. The critical parent criticizes as a form of survival in order to make sure that themselves are acceptable, or fitting in some kind of concept of norms that they have adopted, whether they're religious thoughts, cultural belief systems, societal ideas, that we borrow, we inherit in order to assess whether we're safe. So all of these constructs are based on false concepts of well-being. They're actually based on survival rather than actual well-being. We're moving away from that. We're moving away from that. So the way that we assess, our behaviors is really to understand: are we acting in a way of creating a well-being for ourselves? Okay, or are our behaviors self-destructive? Okay, are we counter-creating with these belief systems? So that is the kind of discernment. And there's a difference between that. Discernment is very constructive, it's compassionate, it's extremely truthful, and it's not just temporary truth, it's a universal truth. That's the difference between discernment and judgment and criticism. Judgment is quite temporary. It's quite small way of comparison and thinking, and we're only comparing two small spheres of information. So this is how we block ourselves out from real truth, greater truths that are extremely necessary for the human to integrate now, actually always, as we are moving into a universal consciousness. Okay, every single one of you is evolving into a universal consciousness. And the state of the frequency of this world is supporting that in such a powerful way. All of you are feeling it now, because you are feeling that you're wanting to discard of these belief systems that really don't fit into a harmonious life anymore. Okay, so please. There's some things also, let's talk practically, Art, that we need to take a look at. Okay, there's a level of forgiveness that has to happen, and we need to forgive the parent that was critical with us. We need to forgive. We need to understand and integrate fully where they came from. You need to accept. Okay, so we don't want to accept that. We want to believe that in a way we kind of fall into a role of victimization as a result of the criticism, and sometimes that becomes our identity. So we have to accept that the parent was this way for whatever reason, and that you can actually choose not to embody that same way of being within yourself. Okay, and that requires you to forgive yourself, to learn to bring into your bloodline forgiveness, really, because the entire bloodline is cycling in cycles of counter-creativity and judgment and separation and deep feelings of unworthiness, or in whatever way it might be. So you that has awakened up consciousness in the awareness of these patterns now has an opportunity to bring into your bloodline the opposing energy, which is this unified compassion for yourself. Okay, this is where you can forgive yourself, and every time that you see yourself beginning to come into these judgmental, critical states, that you pause, you interrupt in that moment and connect with your body, even touch the body, because all of these criticisms are happening in the mind. It means we're in the mind, we're in survival, we're in the future, or we're in the past. We're not in the present moment. So actually, you have to bring yourself into the present moment, mind, body, and soul. So grounding and meditation is good, but when we use that as a separate practice rather than integrated embodiment, then it just becomes a concept. So right now we have to bring fully the awareness into the body, catch when we are being the critical one, and compassionately, connect with ourselves in that awareness. Okay. And that's how you're going to begin to alchemize and ask yourself, this criticism that I'm saying, is it true? Is it true? Compassionately ask the question. And it's amazing when you find the answer naturally comes, no, it isn't true. It's not true that, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be feeling this way, or it's wrong to feel this way. It's not true. It completely dissolves the contraction in your muscles. The nervous system begins to regulate again. Okay, watch that. There's entire systems that are being affected by these thought forms. And we need to learn to be mindful, truly, truly aware of what's happening to our bodies when we come into these states of thinking. It's affecting many things. And remember that it's creating an entire field. Your field is contracted as a result of that. Therefore, we don't manifest. We don't co-create. We are stuck in this vibrational frequency, and we cycle there. Okay. Norma says, I feel more and more resistant to practice meditation 0 point, even if it has been incredibly useful to me in the past. Yeah. So the interesting thing about the energy right now is that we're wanting to come to actually naturally embody the 0 point. Okay, so clear your mind of everything that you think you know or you think you need to know, and come into the present moment. Be in the present moment. It's about being right now. The energy is about being. That's why I'm saying that the cultivation and the holding of space of yourself, raw, without having to perform or to do anything. We are learning, and we are kind of going through a rebirth process after this eclipse of what it means to actually be. And so don't do any of the meditation. Don't do anything. Come and be in the present moment. Just be and see what comes up from there. That is the meditation. What's happening actually is that you're embodying the meditation. You're no longer compartmentalizing it and making it a practice, okay? So it's a different integration that's occurring, and a lot of people are experiencing that right now. So don't judge this process, okay? All right, guys. So let's go into let's see if we have any other questions that I missed. If you guys have any questions, Inga, thank you so much for that super chat. You're so generous. Thank you very much. It really means a lot to me. Mark says, I use the earth nodes with an open heart and do a Native American dance sending energies to the 7 directions. That's beautiful. I think this concept of being is really important. And something that I wanted to mention as I'm feeling these energies that we're coming into of being, the 0 point is so interesting. And I was thinking about this in my meditation today. When you embody the 0 point, we kind of transcend these cycles of karma, okay? And here's why. And I've noticed this in my meditation after meditating, years and years doing the practice of running energy and breaking karmic contracts. When you reach a place of deep integration and awareness, you no longer have contracts to dissolve. They clear out, and you are connected to the unified field through your body. You are completely aligned with the Akashic records and your human life. You are simultaneously accessing that information in the present moment, which is why we activate psychic abilities, our vision, and we discern from a very connected place, okay? So what that shows me is that, the beauty of entering into the 0 point is that you kind of fall into this integration point where you're not being drawn in the duality of events, and you are not causing karma. Okay, you are creating. It's a different state of being. So when you're in this being state, you are aligned and you're harmonized with your intention. You are fully in the present moment, which allows you to simplify, quiet the mind. And that simple practice, energetically, you are anchoring massive amounts of life force through your body, creative life force through your body. You fall out of these cycles of unconsciousness, and the karmic contracts begin to dissolve, and you're no longer creating from the karmic cycles. So the karma, because they are contractual agreements, experiential agreements that we make to experience all the challenging things that you have in your life, okay, they are meant to invite you to observe, and they are reading your DNA, okay? Your life is a hologram of your DNA. your body is a hologram of DNA. Your entire life experiences energetically is either the turning on or turning off of genes, which are networks of memory bioelectrically that are available to you in your body. So whenever we reinforce certain thought forms, we reinforce the karmic cycles. Karma is experiential agreements, which are vibrational frequencies, which are emotional data that you store or release from the body. And what do I mean by karma? Karma is cause and effect. How do we affect? We cause something to come into effect. How we bring that cause is through this bioelectrical system of the emotions. The charge, the bioelectrical charge of each emotion is charging events into creation. And when we are conscious of the emotions that we're feeling and the intentions behind the direction of those emotions, we fall out of the unconscious repetitive patterns, responses of those emotions into creation. Okay? And this is how you dissolve karma, this concept of karma, because you are no longer repeating unconscious states. You're actually co-creating. The co-creation is the state of awareness. You are aware of what you're doing, why you're doing, you're in the present moment. And because you're so present, you are dissolving karma as you exist in your being state. Okay, so it's a very beautiful practice, and it really, I notice more and more people that are coming into this state of being rather than doing, that, you know, we are clearing many generations of ancestral traumas right now. A lot of our ancestral suffering and traumas that we hold within the lineage, is so ready to move away. And it's because of the frequency that we're moving into collectively as a human race. When we move, every single day we're moving through this ascension, okay, of frequency. Something is always dissolving. Something is always being left behind, no longer serving the collective human race. So please understand that, you know, everybody is on their own cycle of ascension as well, but in their way, they are holding frequencies that